There
on?
you are. I see you.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Wow.
I am
Okay.
so excited to finally meet you. I've been following your story on Minister Nathaniel Jordan's page, and I was just so happy when you were telling it that I just had to reach out because he was on here a couple of months ago and was telling us how, everything that he does. I had ran across his health coaching, and he actually brought me knowing so much about fruit and everything, that I didn't realize how important it was, even being vegan for over 4 years. So I'm really excited. I just want to introduce you really quick to everyone. And thank you, Dawn, my lovely co host here, for getting this stream together since I'm not technologically good with it. Welcome, everyone that's
You're welcome.
watching. This is Miss Mary Jones, and she is going to tell us her healing journey and how everything got started and what she was suffering with. And I'm just really excited to talk with her. Um, Mary, do you want to just give us a little intro on how things got started for you, how you got into this, that food was so important?
Yes. I studied or worked as a cosmetologist for over 40 years. And so in 2010, I had to retire because I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And
Oh.
so I had studied herbology and I was a health coach. And so it was kind of confusing to me as to how did this occur. And
Hmm.
so I started taking my herbals and, eating what was prescribed to be the best nourishment. And as I continued on, it seemed to make my health decline. And so then I started studying how to become a vegetarian, then try to go to vegan, but that never worked because I didn't have the support to stop eating the meat and that type thing. So
Hmm.
as time went on and as my health declined to where first I became bedridden,
Oh my.
and then I started getting up, after eating a little better, and then I became wheelchair bound
Oh no.
because all the time my body and the integrity of my bones were steadily declining. I was losing a lot of cartilage, and so then it became crippling. And so my hands became crippled, my knees, became crippled, and my feet became crippled. So I was just losing it all.
Yeah,
So, but
especially if you worked with your hands and on your feet for
yeah,
so many years, that was a big part of, and you were probably a very independent woman, you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. And I had three children to take care of, and so and I did a lot of traveling during my career as a cosmetologist. But once again, when 2010 hit and I became diagnosed with this rheumatoid arthritis, it's just like they saying it was an autoimmune issue. Well, I know that God didn't make our bodies to turn on itself,
Hmm.
but they gave me a clue that there was something that was getting into my system that created this diagnosis. And so I just continued to study, going to rheumatologists, but I couldn't do the medication thing.
Hmm.
And so they said that the medication would not heal me, but it would slow everything down. And in between time, I would have complications with my different organs, internal organs, my lungs and my liver and my kidneys. So I just chose not to go that route.
Thank
And I
goodness.
said I was going to continue. Yeah, thank goodness, because I might not be here to talk to you today. But I just continued to have faith that God was going to, give me instructions and tell me what to put in my temple that would really heal me. So I started working with companies that um, made superfood supplements. And so each time I I improved something or added some more vegetables and fruit to my diet, then I became better, but the pain never completely left me.
Mhm.
So when I got to be about I guess between a five, then it was manageable. I became more mobile, and so that was good for me. I was happy at that point that I was gaining more mobility where I could kind of travel a little bit. But I
Mhm.
wasn't back together again. So it was still confusing as to why I couldn't get my complete healing.
Right.
And so through prayer, I kept asking for instructions and directions. And so, and wisdom as to how could my body be totally healed. And I know God could totally heal me. So that's when after the superfood programs that I had gotten onto, and with them adding more fruit and vegetables in my eating lifestyle, that's when I met. One day I was looking on YouTube, and I saw the minister, uh, Nathaniel Jordan. And so he started talking about the medicine that was in our fruit. And so I said, So as he explained it, as you got some fruit that's called astringent that pulls out the toxins and the mucus and he called it pus, hardened pus. And so I started listening closer and said, pulls it out of the cells. He said, then we have the berries. And then the berries are your antioxidants, and they're like machine guns. So they go through and they kill all the toxins in the body. And so I said, that makes sense. Then he said, and then there's the melons, especially the watermelons. And that goes through and it's like a hose, a water hose, and it just like floods the cells and the tissues and it washes out everything. And so I say, well, let me try this fruit fast.
Mhm.
So I had been on the fruit fast for about a week, and I got enough courage to go on with him and tell him how much better I felt and how my pain had left my body. And so he said, how long have you been on it? I say, 5 days. He said, well, I want you to go 35 more days. And I went like, 35 more
Because
days.
it's fruit, right? Like
I
I
said,
just
that's
fruit.
like going cold turkey, right?
Right.
And so at that point, I had to stop all meat consumption. I had to stop all sugar consumption. As a matter of fact, I had to stop all foods at that point because the destination or the goal was to make 40 days just on fruit.
Yeah.
And so, and I
Wow.
told
So
him, I
proud of
said, look, much prayer got me there.
you. Yes.
I, I had to get rid of my fried chicken. Oh my God.
Right.
So, and that was the last thing to go because I had given up fish already. But like I just said, do I really have to do that? And so one day within this 40-day span, I decided, I said, well, having greens and some black eyed peas and a little cornbread can't hurt. And so when I did, there was such a difference in my energy level until the next day when I woke up. I didn't hop up like I normally did, just on the fruit. And so that let me know that no, to get your complete healing, you had to stay on the fruit for the 40 days. So I went back to the strict fruit fast, and it really started regenerating my whole body. I never knew the power that fruit had to dissolve different things in the body. It was dissolving calcium deposits around my ankle. It was dissolving calcium deposits around my toe, which the medical profession calls it the arthritis. But it's just really dried up mucus and calcium deposits from being so acidic.
Right.
And so after I had been on the fruit fast for 40 days, I began to look at my ankles, and I could actually see that I call it crust, but it was just, I could see the calcium um, being dissolved. And so I
Wow.
could start rotating my ankles again. And I could start, like wiggling my toes again. And so all of this was visual signs that the fruit was actually healing me, and it was dissolving all this buildup that had been going on for over it was about 12 years, and so the fruit are really amazing, and it does have medicinal properties to it.
Hmm.
And so I never would have realized that un- if I had not met the minister of wellness,
Yes.
so it's amazing. So now I try to, or he assigned me to start a senior support group,
Oh, that's great.
and that's growing. So I'm giving my testimony and supporting them, letting them know that we don't have to suffer. We don't
Yeah.
have to suffer to that extent, and that there's hope that you can get off those meds and you can at least get up and start moving around again, because there are very, very good medicinal properties in just eating fruit. And then it began to taste so good until I crave it now. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. I
That makes
love the
sense.
frozen berries. I use that as my go to when I want to snack on something, or my frozen grapes. And so it's just amazing. And I love watermelon. And especially now that I realize that that's my true alkaline water.
Right. That I've learned so much, like you said, and I don't think we ever like completely make that connection. I know I didn't for most of my life, and I was 42 when I came across this. And like you said, I had back pain that wouldn't leave. It was I could still work. Yet every morning I had to get up and I had to get on an exercise bike to stretch it out. I just thought I would have to live with it, like you said,
Mhm.
sometimes the pain was greater, sometimes it was less, and I just got used to dealing with it. But
Mhm.
after about a month, I realized I didn't even have that anymore when I started the raw food. And I think it really has a lot to do with keeping the food at its natural state
Mhm.
before we take out any of the nutrients by cooking it. And you know and the fruit, I didn't even know how important fruit was until Minister Nathaniel was on here, and he was talking about how plants don't really break down,
Mhm.
like your greens and stuff. They don't really digest well.
Mhm.
And I started researching this, and I couldn't believe what I found. And then after hearing your story, like I went completely raw again because I had added like cooked vegan foods and
Mhm.
different things in, and I went completely raw. It'll be close to 2 months now with really mostly fruit, and I do have some greens occasionally too. In with that, do you juice any greens, or do you do just fruit, or are you still on the high fruit?
I'm still on the high fruit, but I do juice, and it's fruit also. I juice cucumbers and apples,
That sounds
and
good.
when I make that, I usually make about 2 quarts of it. And if I drink half of that quart, 16 ounces of it, that nourishes me for at least 4 hours. I just didn't realize that how nourishing it was. And I think the most part is that realizing that's where our alkaline water comes from. I mean, it's got all the nutrients, and so I never buy alkaline water anymore. Um,
Right.
but I had heard a story on the watermelon, and they were saying the vine grows down into the earth, and it collects all of the minerals and all of the water that's like untampered with, and then it puts it in that melon. And so if I just envision everything that I need, all my nourishments are inside that watermelon, or inside of, it could be the cantaloupe or any other melons,
Yeah.
and so and with the berries, when you think about it, that's all they are water, and
Hmm.
so just learning that has saved me a lot of money. And it's done a lot of healing, and it's nourished my cells. And the biggest part is it gets into the cells in a half an hour, and so when if I get on low on energy, I'll just go eat me some cherries or some grapes or some berries, and then I'm back at it, and so
Yeah.
just have just having that knowledge. But I might add some lettuce or some beet leaves or something to my, if I'm making a smoothie,
Hmm.
then I'll add that kind of greenness to it, but I have not gone back to the raw vegetables. Other than that time, I wanted those greens with the black eyed peas. But
Right. We
I
all have
do,
that one
yeah,
little,
I do plan on incorporating more greens because I learned that
Black eyed
it.
peas is some of my favorite. Oh,
Absolutely, it's irresistible, isn't it? Say them.
it is. Listen, I apologize. I've been listening to you the whole time. I have not eaten all day, and it's my eating
Say,
window.
okay.
So I got a salad over here and some olives. So I'm just munching out while you guys are talking. But yeah, man, I'm loving it, Miss Mary. It's
Yeah,
it's
amazing.
yeah.
and
And
you
we
look
got a
excellent.
food
Like
too.
you look so.
Yeah, you look really good.
You
Oh,
look like
thank
you're
you.
glowing. Like
Yeah,
literally, like
yeah,
you're reverse aging.
yeah. That's what they tell me, and the most important thing is that I feel that way.
Yeah.
Being 74 and soon to be 75, it's
Wow.
almost as if it's
I
almost
thought
as.
you were in your like late 50s, early
You
60s.
Oh,
too.
thank you for being so kind. Yeah, but
No, seriously.
yeah, but I'll be 75 in November this year. But it's like God has given me my energy back. He's given me my clarity of thought,
Mhm.
and so sometimes at this age, just what you kind of be concerned about, right? But like
Yeah.
it doesn't even it doesn't phase me at all that, and I'm grateful that I have such memory at this point, and so I'm getting more and more excited to be an example for
Yeah.
people who are suffering with rheumatoid arthritis, or as a matter of fact, any autoimmune issue.
Mhm.
I remember my grandmom had osteoarthritis and
Hmm.
she suffered with that years ago. And
Hmm.
I find that she used to always complain about her knees. And I'm
Hmm.
like, I find myself having knee issues
Hmm.
from time to time. I work out though.
Hmm.
So I try to keep myself active to make sure that that doesn't really happen. But listening to you talk about how the fruit dissipated a lot of the calcium
Hmm.
deposits,
Hmm.
that's
Yes.
huge.
I
Yeah.
think
That
there's
is
so many
huge.
benefits that we don't realize connected to
Mhm.
our food, like in this society. And I'm so happy you have the senior group because people just think they're destined to have to do these medications. And like you
Mhm.
said, they have side effects that
Mhm.
do worse than I hear the commercials. I mean, we hear them all night when we're watching our TV
Mhm.
shows. They come one and
Mhm.
they say, oh, it'll help depression or it'll help other this or that. And then it's like, 20 things may cause death and this could
That's
fail,
that. I'm
it's
like, mm-mm.
Buddha 1000, welcome. I'm sorry I
Hey,
didn't
Buddha.
welcome you. I didn't see you at first. She did fruit with us for a week and had some great health
Mhm.
benefits, and she said she's keeping it up with that high fruit intake, and it's like truly how our bodies were designed to eat. I
Mhm.
realized I thought like
Yeah.
everybody else in life we had to have, for most of my life we had to have meat, we had to have dairy, and
Mhm.
it's like I love the fact that you got motivated to give it up for your health, and
Mhm.
now even like our mood gets better. I notice when I do fruit,
Mhm.
it's just connected, and you didn't say, oh, I love this food too much,
Mhm.
and you continue your faith in God to
Mhm.
find the minister. I think
Mhm.
that's what we all try to do in our healing is sometimes there's another way.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and we are so perfectly designed. They
Yeah.
say fearfully and wonderfully made, and we have so many different systems in our body until once we find out how these systems work and support each other, then that part of educating ourselves on our body becomes major. So
Yes.
I have a ministry that I've had since 2010. It's called the Body Speaks Ministry. And so my effort with that is to teach people to listen to your body speak, because your
The
body,
original minister of wellness.
yeah, yeah. And so,
Yes.
like it's the body speaks to us daily, moment by moment. And so,
Yeah.
say for instance, if you're sneezing and you're starting to cough, and most people reach for something to stop that. Oh, I got these allergies. No, pay attention. There's something in the air that's causing you to do have that reaction. And so
Hmm.
there are many things they're spraying on our food like that. The glyphosate that they spray on our food was the major cause of my autoimmune issue. And so when I studied that, it said that they used that in World War II as a biological warfare. And when they finished the war, they packaged it up, shipped it back to the States, and named it Roundup. And then that's what you see them spraying over the foods, where the farmers have to wear hazmat suits, and 11,000 of them die, yearly because of them. And they got on hazmat suits. So if it does that to them, what is it doing to us? And so
Right.
when they spread on the food, then the insects get paralyzed. So it works on the nervous system. And so when that gets lodged into our tissue, like from the cells to the tissue to the organs, then the immune system's job is to get it out, but it can't, because it's lodged in our organs. And so that's why they call it autoimmune, because the immune system is constantly fighting. It's not turning on itself, it's fighting, trying to get this toxin out of our system. So that's where the fruit comes in, because God has put everything in that fruit to go to the cells in a half an hour and start. The antioxidants is killing all of the toxins that's in our system, and then the melons are washing it out. So that's a whole, like, medicine cabinet right there
Right.
within the fruit, right? And so that's
Awesome.
why we have to get back to, what did God say in Genesis 1:29? I have given me, that's a gift. I have
Mhm.
given you every seed bearing fruit and every seed bearing plant, and to you it shall be food. And so it's not even, and it took me all of these 70 plus years to learn exactly how it met. That's why I'm so grateful that I met the minister, is because he actually broke it down where people can comprehend.
Mhm.
You're the only one responsible for your healing, because the scriptures say, "Physician, heal yourself." But we weren't ever taught, where the true medicine. We knew fruit was good. We know fruit was good for us. We knew vegetables was good for us. But nobody ever broke it down like, there's over 600 different medicines in the strawberry. And
Exactly.
so it's just okay. Cause I mean, I really get excited, and I'm really compassionate about people understanding that we don't have to suffer,
Mhm.
but we do have to be obedient with what the Word of God said. And so I'm beginning to. I mean, I'm just grateful that I came to the point where I can reap the benefits of, God giving me another mercy,
Yes.
to really be an example and show people. I did it without medication. It was very, very painful. When I got bedridden, my mom would say, "Get up." I said, "I can't,"
Mhm.
because I was in so much pain. But and they kept trying to get me to get the infusions and do that. I said, "No." I said, "I can't." I said, "Because God is going to heal me." And I said, "I don't know why I'm going through this." And it took 12 years, for me to really come to the point where I'm starting to actually see the healing that's taking place in my body.
That is excellent. And I love that, and maybe the reason that you had to deal and go through that is look how many people you're helping. I mean, just
Mhm.
by coming on, I know that it was really probably a blessing for a lot of the people that watched the Minister of Wellness that might
Mhm.
have not known if it was real, and not
Mhm.
had the like didn't want to make that commitment because they're like, okay, I can listen to him, but he's not my age, or he doesn't understand this. But to see someone like, for especially for like someone in that age range that doesn't think they can change, to see your story, I mean, it
Mhm.
inspires us all. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for having the courage to go on his show and then Rock Newman, and to come
Mhm.
on here and just, because there's so much we're fighting with. We're fighting with myths, like he talks about. We're fighting with, the media telling people they need this and the wrong information. And it's so simple that people, the pharmaceutical industry wants, obviously has their own agenda. They want to make money. We can all understand that, but they're managing our illnesses with that. And the fact that you're telling us we can take control and we can
Mhm.
heal. I've, had like such great, I stopped allergies and different things and lost weight, and I just feel really good. And that's what started this channel. And the fact that you came across him on YouTube, maybe
Mhm.
I can help someone connect with him and you. And is your senior group like, is it a group that's online? Can people join, or is it like specific to like your state or church?
No, well, it's for people 65 and over, and it's on Zoom.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so like I just collect email addresses, and then I send out the link if they're 65 plus,
Hmm.
and everybody else is really the support group is the Minister of Wellness.
Look at you doing Zoom calls.
I know.
that's
It's
Wow.
that's
technology now, right?
that's what my children say. Ma, you just do all kind of stuff. What you doing now?
You say it's the
So
fruit.
yeah, it's
Wow.
absolutely, so, and I'm just grateful that God is using me to help others, because I belong to a couple of groups that's caregiver groups, and I'm looking like, they don't like you to come on their page and try to say anything, but I'm looking like y'all don't have to suffer. How can I get to them? So I'm asking God to give me an in way to those kind of groups, because there's so much suffering going on, and the caregivers are taking care of their loved ones. But if they knew that all you have to do is give them more fruit and vegetables,
Yeah.
and not that insure and all that stuff,
Right.
then they could come to a point where they'll be able to do more for themselves and become more mobile, and so, and I'm a living example. I'm telling you, I still use my chair in the house to be more independent, because I stay by myself. But and I also I'm growing an indoor garden. That's another thing I'm doing, because
Nice. I
I
was going to
really
ask you buy organic later. So,
oh
I want to do that, Miss Mary. I want to do that as well.
yeah,
Keep us
I
from the roundup.
absolutely. And what's so amazing is that these vegetables, I got one strawberry, I guess you can call cucumbers, and cucumbers, what I have on there, cucumbers and tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. I got some collard greens on there too. But and I got some string beans, and what else I
All the
got?
good
Some
stuff.
broccoli. Yeah. So but for seniors it's very important, because I went through when they had the pandemic, and I always ate like organic, and I paid attention to the codes they put on the food, those little stickers. And so they had a truck come to our building. They were giving away what I call free food. And then they would have a truck come with vegetables. But the vegetables always had the number 4. And I knew those were conventionally grown, full of pesticides. So I couldn't eat them. And so in the interim, I ended up being or suffering from acidosis. because I wasn't getting any fresh fruit and vegetables. I couldn't get to Whole Foods to get, what I was normally used to. And the free food didn't it was like canned food or canned tuna or, some kind of meat in a packet,
Mm.
so it was
Think
peanut
about how much
butter.
stuff we ate now that I know all this, and I'm like, I don't even want to think about it, right?
Mystery.
Right,
They give
and
you the
so
mystery meat.
they had to rush me out of here one day. To My daughter came to visit me because they were trying to isolate us from the community. But she came to visit me and she looked at me. She said, "Ma, what's wrong with you?" I didn't even realize that my face had swollen up so big and my skin. You could tell it was like somebody poured acid on the inside of me, and my skin was like burnt. And so when they got me to the hospital, I didn't take medication, and they started pumping me with what is that? Benadryl and prednisone. And so that really made me more acidic. And so with me not getting any fresh fruit or vegetables and being on this free food and per se, and then the number 4 pesticide vegetables and fruit, it was a bad case. I documented it. So one day I'm going to, have I show it sometimes during my Zoom classes, but I look like I was 150 years old
Mm.
and somebody had threw lye on me. And that
Oh,
was from my face. My face was so swollen because it was inflamed. It was full of inflammation. And then
Wow.
the rest of my body, my feet, they were talking about amputating my feet because it was so dark and I kept saying, "You're not amputating anything here." And so it took a couple of years for me to, once they lifted the thing for the pandemic, that I could get
That's right.
back to.
You're not cutting on me.
No cutting going on here. So when I was able to get back to the Whole Food stores, slowly it started coming back, but I was still consuming meat. So that made it slower because the minister tell you, if you want a quick healing, just stick with strict fruit. And then, because the vegetables even slow it down a little bit. The vegetables are to rebuild. But when you want a healing, you just stick with the straight fruit. And so by me still including meat in my diet, the process was long.
yeah,
And I'm just amazed that within 30 days with being with the minister, I was completely, like pain free. I was pain free within the first 7 days, I'll say,
that's
or
just
almost 5 days, really.
unbelievable. If
Yeah.
people could hear this, I'm gonna put this everywhere every day that I can because it is unbelievable. It doesn't just mean if you're in this age or you know what I mean. You had dealt with this for many years, and
Mm-hmm.
within a week, if you had
Mm-hmm.
only been told that
Mm-hmm.
in 2010 or found this information, but I truly think you were put here as a blessing because
Mm-hmm.
you had to go through the story to be able to tell people this is where I was and this is what happened,
Mm-hmm.
and so thank you for suffering with that, and thank you for not just saying, hey, you know what, I feel better, so I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to go live my life now. You are making it your point, and if it's okay, I would like to, I'll link the Minister of Wellness, of course, here in the
Mm-hmm.
description, and anything that you want to share, if there's an email or anything or a link that they can sign up, if they're a senior,
Mm-hmm.
because I think I really am just so blessed to have heard this story. It even helps me stay inspired on my healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if the earlier you start, you don't have to suffer like that, But like, I give out my phone number, but it's just for people 65 and older,
Mm-hmm.
to join me, and anyone under that age is welcome to go to the Minister of Wellness,
Mm-hmm.
and for the coaching and support, because that's the other key ingredient, is to be in a support group.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, my language can talk to the seniors 65 and over. And we have people in there that's like 83, so I learn from them as well. But I can give you my number if that'll.
Oh yes, I think I have it. So if that's the
Okay,
same one,
okay, yeah, you could.
I'll
Yeah,
make
it's the
sure.
same one. Yeah,
Yes, if
same
you would
one.
do that or have them reach out to me and then I can send it to them,
Oh
whichever.
yes, I would appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
that.
do that. That way we can kind of screen it and make sure it's, you know,
Yeah.
someone
Thank you so
that,
much. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, cause
that
I
really needs help,
yeah,
because I don't want to get your number out there and then maybe
yeah,
even there
Wrong
might
people
be.
get a hold of it.
Yeah, we don't want
yeah.
anybody getting a hold of your phone number. But I definitely, if people reach out and you want to reach out to me and we can talk and make sure that you're a good candidate, I'll definitely refer them over to
Okay.
you for that help because and the minister of wellness, his coachings, you can get one-on-one coaching and you can
Mhm,
get different advice. Though if you're just starting to think about it, come on and listen to his he does them on Saturday, I know, Saturday morning and also Monday morning and evening. He does the free health coaching, and he accepts obviously donations. um, I wanted to ask you, do
Also,
you?
we're trying to get you past 120 subscribers as well. So with you
Yes,
delivering your message as well and getting people on here to talk about it, we need to grow this as well. You know what I mean?
thank
mhm,
So
you.
anybody
mhm,
Miss Mary, that also likes to, talk about the fruits and vegetables and foods and things. We do this every Monday. So yeah, feel free to come listen, share
mhm.
the link with people, and we can share the wealth, because we refer people right on back to the minister as well.
Okay,
So yeah,
okay. Yeah,
trying to grow
would
his wealth
love to.
too.
I was just so thankful, and I think I'm going to do a stream about it next week because even when I was vegan, I was raw at first and then I started to like feel like I needed to gain weight, so I went to the cooked food and then I got into that vegan meat type food, and I
Mhm,
was kind of then getting more and more. I used to try to stay mostly raw and then I was going down the cooked food where I could see my salad was real little and my
mhm,
cooked beans and rice, for example, was
mhm.
the
Yeah.
bigger portion. And I think when I met the minister and started listening to him and watching all his videos, that even brought me back to fruit and
Mhm,
my anxiety that I've been dealing with and symptoms of like OCD in a
mhm,
month have just it's completely changed. It makes you feel on a different type of vibration, even like a
mhm,
calmer, and but you have energy too, and it's like no one can understand until you do it. And Dawn did the fruits with me, and I just looked, one day I was looking at her on here and I'm like, wow, you just seem like you're like you look glowing, you know what I mean?
mhm.
It's
Thank
like
you.
people
Yeah.
don't realize
Mhm,
exactly what food can do. And it's like, to me, it's not even food anymore. What you were talking about, like tuna fish, and
mhm.
it doesn't even look like food. It's like,
No.
that's not really food now that I know it's meant to nourish us.
Mhm,
And I find it interesting how he brings in the scriptures, you
mhm,
know, and, in my prayers, I always ask for healing and how to reach people and how to, get healthier and heal, people in my family and the people in my Facebook group. And I feel like that led me to him,
mhm,
like it led you to him, because it
mhm,
all starts with having faith that, wanting to find the right thing. You hear so much different stuff: carb, keto,
mhm,
eat more meat and less fruit. And that's the craziest thing now that I think about it, that is out there. But he actually finds that in the Bible, which I think
mhm,
people find what they want and take out of it and don't really find the true word like we all did, and people will say, oh, you have to eat meat, it's in the Bible and things. But listen, the minister of wellness, and I think he has one called biblical principles
mhm.
that he has on there. If if you read the Bible, that one is really interesting too, because it,
Mhm.
it actually shows that we're being told
Yeah.
exactly what to do to heal.
Mhm. Yeah. And I always say, they're making thousands and thousands of dollars off of how do they call it? What they call it?
Big pharma.
Plant based. No, they're saying
Yeah.
plant based. Eat a plant based diet, and You'll heal diabetes and you'll heal blah de da. Well, what did God say? He said plant-based in the beginning. You know,
Right.
you eat your fruit and vegetable. He said, I have given you, every seed-bearing fruit and every seed-bearing plant. So what is that? That's plant-based living. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Right.
you didn't make that up.
Right.
You're taking what God told us to do in the beginning, in the first chapter of the Bible, or how to live our lives on earth and still be healthy. So you didn't create anything. He's the only person that could take something from nothing and make something. Or did I say that right? He can take nothing and
Yeah.
make something.
He can create
Mm-hmm.
And
something from
and
nothing.
even with them, if you in even when now they're making the lab meat, now they're making chips for the brain, and what I'm saying. So you're taking cells from cancer cells and making up meat. You still got to take something to make up something. You're taking our herbs and you're making up medications with them. So that's why we're being our brain. You're putting our brain to sleep so that it doesn't send signals that your knee is hurting. Give them a pain med. So put the
Yep.
brain to sleep so it doesn't send that signal. Next thing you know, you're gonna fall in it. Oh, she fell and broke her leg. No, the leg broke and you fell. And so it's that kind of uh, thing or trickery they're doing to us to make us think that my doctor, he gave me something that made me feel better. No, eat your fruit and eat your vegetables, or how the minister says, eat your fruit,
Juice your
juice your
vegetables.
vegetables, and take your herbs. And so that's all the medicine our body needs. I was talking to someone and I said, okay, let's look at this. What's the side effect of fruit, eating too much fruit? You might get diarrhea if you eat too many greens, or if you eat, but you're not going to die. So if you needed it to come out, my mother used to say, what you saving it for? And so, but what's the side effects of the medicine? You got 1,000 of them, which might include death.
Mm-hmm.
And so, which one you want to do? You want to eat the fruit and the vegetables and bring you life, because that's all living food, or do you want to take this and just mask, what's really going on? So,
Mm-hmm.
it's a
Right.
scripture that says, "So choose you this day. I have set before you life and death. Which one you want to choose?" And so, yeah, it's really my heart. And I used to teach in the church, and they stopped my teachings because they didn't like me telling them what God said eat, messing with their meat. So they stopped my session. But God wanted me to go through this experience so that when I come out, it would be stronger. And the minister gives me more courage, because if I start talking to someone about not eating meat and they give me that sad eye look, I say, "Oh, I want to send you this video," and I
Mm-hmm.
let him tell them, you know,
Right. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so God is just really giving everybody a gift, and I'm just grateful that I'm allowed to use my gift before I leave Earth to help other people heal and let them know it's not that hard.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
this is the easiest life it, because he said don't say diet. the
Right.
life the
Life.
life is
Lifestyle.
yeah, the lifestyle, it's the easiest, and it tastes good
Mm-hmm.
when you get the
Yeah.
real thing, because my tower garden has taught me the difference between the lettuce I buy in the store and the lettuce that comes off of there. And so no preservative, nobody done sneezed over it, coughed over it.
Right. And the
So
the seeded fruits, right? He talks about are even better.
yeah, yeah, it's even better, and they're making it harder and harder for us not to get it.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, we've been
so
trying to get a seeded watermelon, and I don't want to not eat it. So,
yeah,
when you're eating only fruit, I'm like, I need my watermelon, so
yeah,
I'm gonna have to
yeah,
get it. But it's still
Right.
it's
yeah.
better than not eating it as is,
Absolutely, I
but
totally
no,
agree. I
we gotta
agree.
do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So
I just chopped up one.
yeah, I got one waiting too. But it's
We're all
like
going to be starving in about 5 minutes. We'll be running from this
I know, but like
photograph.
if the minister does make a point where he said that God is not going to allow them to destroy his medicine food. So even if they just got 2% of the medicine still, and he could take that and heal our bodies with it. And so that's why I had a problem with eating stuff that didn't have a seed. And so now, after I listened to him, I said, well, okay, let me pray over this,
Yeah, because
and
we
just
can't
go on
use
and eat
that
it.
as our excuse to not eat it. Because some
That's
people will
right.
take that and run with it. Well, I was going to do it, but they didn't have the seed.
Yeah, it didn't have a seed in it, so yeah, it's just a pleasure. I'm just so glad that I was chosen to come on and speak today. It's really an honor to be able to let your voice be heard and be a real example of the healing powers of God. Because it's Him that led me to the minister.
Mhm.
It's Him that allowed me to be on the Rock Newman show. I could never have imagined to even be, amongst the kind of people that He's put me in. Even with your show, I'm just so honored to be chosen to be able to
We're honored to
speak.
have you on
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, it's all God orchestrating this whole thing.
Oh yeah,
And so
he's trying to bring us back.
yeah, He's got to bring us back. So when I get up in the morning, I say, okay, I'm up, I'm available. So what
Mhm.
would you have me to do
Excuse
today?
me.
I love
Yeah,
your
yeah.
message that you sent me. I think I said, "Is this Mary Jones?" And you said something like, "Yes, how can I serve you?" And I was like, "Oh my goodness, I love her already."
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was so
that's what
sweet.
it's all about. That's what it's all about, serving. I read this
Each
book
other.
called Thou Shall Prosper by Rabbi Daniel Lappin, and he said, our job here is to serve, and the more we serve, God looks down and says, "Oh, you're serving my children, so I'm going to give you a reward, and your
like,
reward is going to be spiritual, and it's going to be money." He says, "So when you go to the restaurant and they serve you, if they did a good job, you give them a bigger tip." He says, so it's kind of related to that. The better you serve people, then you don't ever have to worry about being taken care of, because he say, first seek ye the kingdom and I'll add everything else to you. So that's my prime thing. Is people say, well, how much you charge? I say, I serve. you know I just serve, and I allow God to use me so that I don't take all of this back with me. And so that's my prime focus, is to serve. And I don't worry about anything else. I know God is going to bless me.
yes, I definitely know you are already blessed, and we're blessed just to be able to talk with you and hear your journey, and how many people hopefully that we can spread the word to, and really get this information out there. And I think it's really important, like you said, you never know. At some point somebody might do a search, heal arthritis, or on
Hmm.
YouTube, like you came across this information, and it might
Hmm.
be the path that they need to hear you inspire them. So it is really kind of you to share your story. And you were saying, how can I reach people? That's exactly how you can do it. Hearing that
Hmm.
story and what you did, it's unbelievable to think within a week that happened.
Hmm.
And to be able to talk to you, not to be able to read it on a research study, but to
Hmm.
talk to you personally that it happened with, is just excellent.
Awesome.
Yes,
Yes.
so I'm happy. How they say, I'm happy all about it.
Yes. I want to thank our guest. Well, I want to thank you last, but I'm going to thank first of all Buddha 1000, our excellent moderator. Thank you everybody who's listening in.
Best moderator on YouTube.
Make a comment if you want to say something on here. If you're catching the replay, we would love to hear it, and I'll share it with Mary if you do. If you have any questions or anything like that, and please definitely like and share this video, especially with family members. if you know they need to heal, and this information is hidden enough, so the more we can get it out there. And I want to thank Dawn for being our excellent co-host here, and blessing us with the little stream to get in here on, and the thumbnail. And thank you for also putting the minister's picture up, and I want to thank him for
Mhm.
everything he does as well.
Yeah.
Let's
And
do that again.
I'm really excited to have met him, and then
Mhm.
met you through him. And thank you. I
Mhm.
know we have a small channel, at least right now, but thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come on here. It really means a lot to us. And thank you for that. And thank you, Mary. Is there anything you or Dawn want to say before we start to wrap it up?
Well, I just want to, encourage everybody that if you are consistent and obedient to what God has said, or how to treat our bodies or our temples, then if He can take me, and I've been not obedient for over 70 years, and regenerate me in such a short period of time, there's always hope. It's never too late, and so the moment that you hear about it, just trust God, and you can heal. You don't have to suffer.
And continue to pray, because
Yeah.
ultimately we thank God for putting all of this here, and this giving us the technology to be able to share things. Because I feel like you said, the more they try to do things to put out there mainstream, because they could really control our mind if we didn't have social media and
Mhm.
YouTube and things to get the real information out there. Because like you said, even I think it was, you mentioned the church didn't want you to continue to share, because people don't want to hear that what they're doing is harming them. They, at this point, a lot of people would just rather take medication, and or don't realize it, and putting that through, it takes a minute. But out of all the people that will not listen, there's going to be someone in there that you'll
Mhm.
help, and a
That's
percentage
going
of
Mhm.
to be
people
set
will
free
listen.
by that truth, because they've made it a cliche, but it is true. The truth will set you free.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
when when you realize the truth and get with that,
Mhm.
and make sure that you're doing the things that you're supposed to do for your body, in the way of eating the fruits
Mhm.
and juicing the vegetables, or and eating some of the vegetables, I mean, that is the
Mhm.
truth.
That's
You know what
true.
I mean? And people run from it, and
Mhm.
they don't realize that, hey, you want to be free from suffering, you want to be free from the pain, then go find the truth.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that little bit
And
of
that is, you're not supposed to eat meat or dairy.
that little bit of pleasure you might get from your ice cream, or your like you said, fried chicken. I mean, we all ate meat like for most of my life. This has only been 4 years that I haven't. Like, a lot of people say, we didn't give it up for the taste, we give it up
Mhm.
because that little bit of time, that pleasure is not worth me having back pain, allergies,
Mhm.
being overweight, pre-diabetes. And I have a
Mhm.
video on reversing diabetes too, if anyone
Mhm.
wants to check that out too, because that's something that plagues a lot of people, and they don't realize, like Miss Mary healed, you can do that too, and you're going to be preventing it. Best thing to do is do this, like, don't wait until you get something going on.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then don't do it and heal and stop.
Mhm.
Keep it up. If it
Mhm.
was strong enough to heal you, then it's strong enough to sustain your health.
And
Yeah.
you'll get to really like the taste. Like, I can't wait to eat my fruit and vegetables. I don't crave that anymore. You have to get it out of your system.
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
crave fresh foods.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned that earlier, I meant to bring that up again.
Yeah. I mean, it's still, it makes you remember, back, I'd say back in the day, how fruit really was, because I loved fruit in the beginning, but
Hmm.
because they've been manipulating the food so bad to become a drug until you get addicted to that, so, and that's another issue, is trying to detox from that, and it's hard sometimes. It reminds me of when I stopped smoking. It really was a challenge for me to stop smoking, and it's been over like 40 years since I stopped smoking cigarettes. But
Hmm.
like, I equated that
Right.
to the same thing as getting off meat.
Like
And
the
I say, you
addiction.
really don't like the meat. Because if you just bought the chicken and threw it up on the table and started slicing it, you would not eat that.
Or running over to the side of the road and jumping up
Yeah,
and grabbing a
right.
raw flesh and biting
It's a
through it. Like,
roadkill,
and
right?
when you really think about it, like I was just brainwashed thinking this is food and this is a pet. Really, that
Hmm.
now I look at animals like they're not food, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not food. How did the minister say, "Why are you eating murdered animals?" I
Dead
said, "Oh
flesh.
my
I love
God!"
the way he puts things.
My mouth used to salivate. I'd see an Outback commercial, and oh, that steak looks so good. Now all I see is dead flesh.
Right?
Pizza commercial. Oh, that just is mucus to me now.
Oh,
When I see the pizza dripping, it used
yeah,
to entice me. Now all I see is mucus.
yeah, yeah,
You know, it's so funny how your when perception is reality. It's so funny how your perception
yeah,
changes when you get enlightened.
yeah,
You
yeah. We
know,
perish for the lack of knowledge, but when you get it, you just automatically change.
yeah.
Yeah. So, so yeah, it's just been a very big learning experience for me to see how the body can regenerate. It
Right.
doesn't matter what age. It's never too late for the body to regenerate.
I
You know.
Hey, that's a saying. That needs to be on a
like
t-shirt.
that. I was
Oh,
gonna say I'm
oh,
proud of you
Body can regenerate.
oh!
for
It
being.
just came out too, but I do hear
I
that.
know it. I know it. Look, you just speaking greatness.
Oh, well, thank you.
That
Yeah,
is it. That's gonna be the famous quote. You heard it here, right?
When I borrow that, I'll pay you the royalties. I'll
thank
make
you.
sure you get the royalties.
She's
Yeah,
writing poems now. The fruits have made her
yeah,
just
yeah. That sounds good. I'm going to incorporate it in my talk.
There you go.
Yeah, so feel free to use it. So,
I'm telling Miss Mary, seriously,
yeah.
you can put that on some cups and t-shirts, and you can always donate the proceeds.
Oh
That's not
yeah.
a really good
Okay.
saying.
Yeah.
really is.
That would
You
be
know,
a good fundraiser, wouldn't it?
it would.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Right.
So
Hey,
Marketer over here.
I'm full of them,
okay.
sis.
All right.
Gonna
So
make
yeah.
Mama Jones famous, right?
Yeah. Right. So yeah.
I was gonna say too, I'm so proud of you, and so like you're very blessed to have an open mind because like the older we get, the more we think we're set in our ways, and for you to
Mhm.
have the open mind to learn all this new stuff, and I mean, you sound like you know your stuff when it comes to what fruit does what.
And to take it to heart and use it,
Yeah. Yeah.
have it work so well.
Yeah, that
You
and that's
know,
the whole point. Like I've studied for years. I spent thousands of dollars, getting certified in this and certified in that. But I didn't start hearing it and walking in it until I met the minister. And all of it just came together. So that's why when I talk about it, it's because it's already been there. I read a scripture in First John, and it was saying something about uh, the anointing I gave to you, nobody can teach you. And so when I heard that this morning, I was like, wow. I say, so that just means whatever anointing he has given each one of us, we don't need to, study nobody else's stuff, because when we hear it, it's going to kick in and you're going to walk in it. And so that was a powerful message for me this morning, and that was just this morning. And I just keep remembering it and keep reading it, that the anointing that God gives you, nobody can teach you what that is until you decide to walk in it. And then he'll provide all these avenues. Because I've tried to start my ministry for years, and since I've been with the minister, all these doors have been opening for me to. I couldn't, like I said before, I could not have done this better. As far as getting interviewed by different people, and I'm like, well, okay, Lord, he does it better. He's just waiting for you to be ready to step into it. And so when I just turned it over to him and stepped into it, that's when all of these doors just opened. So he was just waiting on me, like, okay, when you gonna get started? I already gave it to you when you hit the earth. When you gonna walk in it? And so
Right.
uh
You know something? You're a messenger, and you don't know why, but you're a messenger.
I know
right now.
why. I know. I've been telling her about those fruits.
You have been chosen to deliver a
Oh,
message,
wow. Well,
and it has been received.
okay.
Thank you. I heard you.
Okay, very
I
good,
heard.
very good, very good. That was my prayer before I came on. Is whatever comes out of my mouth, let it be for a witness about Him speaking.
Yeah.
To whoever needs to hear the message, and that's what I say before I speak at all. Is that don't let it be me. And so thank you for acknowledging that. So it gives me more courage to say, well,
Got to. I gotta let him know I've received it.
yeah, yeah.
Even though I don't have to speak that out loud, he knows it in my heart and in my mind that I've received it. I want to say it because I want to thank you for delivering it.
Okay, thank you thank you. Yeah, thank him, right? Yeah. So
Exactly.
yeah, so I don't know how much time I got, but
We probably have kept you long enough. Probably you're probably like, okay, I think we're all ready to eat our fruits and veggies. So you're welcome to come on anytime if you have some new information you want to share or anything moves you to want to speak. You definitely have an open invitation here. Any stream we do. So thank you for
okay.
coming on and blessing us with that reminder that we owe it all to God for everything.
Yeah. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
you
First
do.
and foremost. I really thank both of you for having me and allowing me to speak, to the people. And I look forward to coming back on and sharing. And you do have my contact information, right?
Yes.
And so feel free to use it. You
I
know.
will. Thank you, and reach out to us any point in time as well. And thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Buddha, and thank you everybody who's catching
Thanks,
the
Buddha.
replay.
I'll see
Thank
you
you,
tomorrow night,
Ministry.
sweetheart.
Thank you, God, and thank you, Mary Jones.
Yes, thank you, God.
Well, Jen and I collaborated on a poem. I do video editing, and she does very, very well spoken poetry. So we put together a video, and we always end our shows with it, Miss Mary. So enjoy,
Okay.
and we'll see you the next time.
Everyone,
Okay.
go eat your fruit.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
See you tomorrow, Buddha.
If we can become a plant-based nation, we could get off all our medication. We want to keep doing things like we were, donating to organizations claiming to fight for a cure. But the cure is already in front of our eyes, and it's time for us to wake up and realize. We may not want to believe we have control. It's easier for most of us to metaphorically live in a hole. So many stories of how being plant-based has reversed disease. It's funny that we can't stop eating meat with ease. We want to continue to look for the answer, yet people have reversed even cancer. I think finally as a nation, it's time to give people the truthful information. Your hard-earned money is what you pay to take your medicine day after day. Sadly, there's a lot of money being made in people staying sick. This has to finally make something click. We have to have this revelation that a cure means not selling medication. There's so many myths and misconceptions, but it's eye-opening once you make the connections. That meat and dairy are causing insulin resistance, it's not sugar and carbs causing diabetes, for instance. Scientifically, our bodies are not set up like carnivores. We model those who eat plants. If you can heal, why not give it a chance? You follow your car's owner's manual for what gas it takes, yet for our bodies without care, we feed it steaks. That's like giving an unleaded car diesel to drink. Our bodies will reject it, don't you think? I'm not here to tell you what to do, but to be a voice, that when it comes to your health, you have the choice. With just a few adjustments to your diet, I can help if you just want to try it. I've found testimonials that people have reversed every ailment and disease by simply eliminating meat, eggs, milk, and cheese. There's a tasty substitute for all the things you already eat. You can get all your nutrients without eating meat. Save the animals, the environment, and yourself just by making a few different selections off the grocery store shelf. It's never too late. I've seen it work at all age ranges. It's my passion, and I can't wait to hear about your positive health changes. It's time for the world to wake up and heal, and you can start with your very next meal.